Have you guys ever been walking downstairs convinced there's one more step, stepped on nothing, and felt your heart skip a beat? Or while you're dozing off, suddenly dream you're free-falling into a deep, bottomless pit, waking up with a start, sweat soaking your back? Science explains it as just a muscle reflex when the brain thinks the body is falling. However, what if that feeling of free fall never stopped? Try to imagine this scene. You are strolling through an empty shopping mall. Your feet are tired, you lean back against a concrete wall. But instead of feeling solidity, the wall suddenly disappears. Physics collapses. You fall backward, dropping through the fabric of reality, landing smack into a completely alien space. Welcome to the greatest nightmare of the internet age. A place with no daytime, no nighttime, no escape. And worst of all, you know for sure that in this silent maze, you are not alone. Today, let's descend to the deepest levels of human psychology to decode a phenomenon that is causing millions around the world to lose sleep. The chilling truth about the endless basement called the Backrooms. Part 1. The slip out of reality. What is noclip? To understand the hallucinogenic nature of the Backrooms, just relate it to playing video games. Surely anyone who has played GTA, Skyrim, or open-world games has encountered this glitch. Your character is running along fine, suddenly crashes into a corner of a wall with bugged code, falls right through the map, dropping into a black, endless void beneath the game. Programmers call that phenomenon noclip, no collision. But what would happen if our real world was actually just a giant game? And sometimes it also bugs out. The legend of the Backrooms doesn't originate from an ancient book or a blockbuster movie. It started from an anonymous post on the 4chan forum in 2019. That post had only one single photo. A photo capturing a completely empty room. Walls covered in dingy, rotting yellow wallpaper. On the floor, an old, stained carpet. On the ceiling are rows of industrial fluorescent lights. No windows, no furniture. Below the photo is a short caption, but enough to make anyone who reads it shudder. If you're not careful and you noclip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the Backrooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights hum-buzzing at maximum, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you. Part 2. The ultimate tape of despair. For you to truly feel the suffocating, hopeless nature of the Backrooms, let's consider a scenario synthesized from found footage tapes that have been spreading rampantly online recently. This story has no gore, no cheap jump scares, but it erodes your mind slowly. Let's call our main character Alex. Alex is a vlogger specializing in exploring abandoned buildings. One unlucky afternoon, Alex sneaks into the basement of an old apartment building that has been sealed for a decade. He walks while holding his camera. At the end of a pitch-black hallway, Alex sees a rotting wooden door. He reaches out, turns the knob, steps through. Click, zwack. As soon as Alex's heel touches the new floor, all the noisy traffic sounds from outside shining through the vents abruptly cut off. A thick silence descends. Alex starts turning his head back. The rotting wooden door behind him has disappeared. No fences, no old apartment building. Where he just stepped through is now just a wall covered in yellow wallpaper. He rushes over, pounding his hands against the wall, but it is solid. Alex turns on the camera light, shining it around. Hitting his eyes is a gruesome maze. Randomly arranged plywood office dividers with no discernible pattern. Yellowed, dull wallpaper. The carpet beneath his feet is soaking wet, smelling musty like a wet dog. And overhead, the row of fluorescent lights begins to torture his hearing with the hum, hum, hum. The video records the gruesome psychological change of a human being. On the first day, Alex is still calm. He thinks this is just a prank, some secret area of the building, or at worst, a practical joke by his friends. He walks along the corridors, marking them by tearing the wallpaper. By the second day, panic begins to appear. The camera's battery has not drained at all, a blatant violation of physical laws. The phone has absolutely no signal. He has run frantically through hundreds of turns, but every room is sickeningly identical. Not a single window to see the sun. No stairs. Everything repeats like an eternal loop. Utter isolation begins to chew and swallow his mind. On the fourth day, thirst tortures Alex. He collapses on the floor. Survival instinct forces him to do a disgusting thing. He presses his face against the filthy carpet, sucking muddy, stinking drops of water from the moldy fabric layers to hold on. And then, by the fifth day, hallucinations begin. Or at least, he hopes it's a hallucination. In one of the most haunting scenes of the video, Alex is sitting huddled in a corner, his eyes hollow, staring blankly. Suddenly, the sound of the fluorescent lights seems to get quieter, making way for another type of sound, emitting from the hallway out of sight. It is not the sound of human footsteps. It is a squelching, thudding sound, shuffling on the carpet surface. Squelch, squelch, thud. It is moving slowly, but with purpose. It is scanning every room. Then a voice speaks up. It mimics exactly Alex's voice when he screamed for help on the first day. "Is anyone here? Help me!" But its tone is distorted, broken, high-pitched like it's coming from a broken radio with static. Alex's face in the lens turns ghostly white. He clamps his hand tightly over his mouth, stopping his breath, tears streaming down. The final image of the video is the scene where Alex cannot bear the fear any longer, stands up abruptly and runs headlong into the endless maze. Immediately, that squelching sound suddenly lets out a piercing shriek and rushes right on his heels. The camera flies out of his hands onto the carpet, the screen filled with static noise. Then goes black. Part 3. Why is it so haunting? The liminal space phenomenon. After hearing the story above, many of you will say, "What's so scary?" In short, it's just a made-up internet legend, creepypasta. True, its origin is fictional. But why does a fictional story have enough weight to create a global ideology, be made into short films with tens of millions of views, and cause countless people to admit they feel suffocated and lose sleep when looking at that photo of those yellow walls? The secret lies in an extremely sophisticated psychological manipulation trick of our brain, called liminal spaces. To put it simply, liminal spaces are places designed only for humans to pass through, not to stay. For example, an empty school hallway at 2 a.m., a parking lot under an apartment building basement at midnight with flickering lights, a completely empty supermarket, no customers and no employees, or a children's ball pit play area but located in an abandoned commercial center. You guys remember back when you were kids? Have you ever been lost from your mom in the supermarket? The feeling of being surrounded by giant repeating shelves of goods, no sign of relatives, cold lights shining down, and every sound echoing magically. That feeling awakens a primitive fear lying deep in human DNA from the time of living in caves. The fear of being separated from the herd, of being abandoned, and helplessness before an undetermined environment. Part 4. The Backrooms universe, the endless spatial levels. The online community didn't just stop at the yellow room. With their crazy creativity, they fleshed out the Backrooms, turning it into a multiverse of despair with thousands of different levels. A place where death is sometimes a luxury of escape. Level 0, the lobby, is exactly the yellow maze we just talked about. If you are lucky or unlucky enough to find a door or a staircase going down, you will drop into Level 1, Habitable Zone. This place is a massive concrete industrial basement submerged in fog. Water leaks from the pipes, and this is where darkness rules. Here the lights will randomly automatically turn off completely. And when the lights go out, predatory entities start crawling out from the hidden corners. The most haunting, and also voted by many as the most chilling, is the pool rooms level, level 37. When falling in here, you will find yourself standing in a flooded space, surrounded by countless swimming pools lined with classic white and blue ceramic tiles, stretching endlessly. The space is so silent that you can clearly hear every drop of water falling. The water here is crystal clear, strangely warm. But the fear lies in this: you never see the end of the pool. And if we talk about heart-pounding intensity, it's impossible not to mention level. Level, run for your life. As soon as you fall into this level, hitting your eyes is a long hospital corridor, illuminated by glaring red alarm lights. Piercing siren wails echo endlessly. And immediately, from right behind your back, a whole horde of monstrous entities, screaming wildly with all sorts of grotesque shapes, will charge straight at you. On this level, you have no time to think. The only rule is, keep your head down and run. Sprint along that red corridor for 10 kilometers without tripping, without looking back. Run until your lungs burst or you get torn apart. That is only 4 out of thousands of levels in the Backrooms. In this world, there are no heroes wielding swords to slay monsters and beat the game. The concept of victory does not exist. In that place, a human is just a grain of sand swallowed by the giant machine of a glitched space. The torment of wandering forever, facing ultimate isolation until the mind shatters, is the cruelest punishment the Backrooms reserves for intruders. What do you guys think about the Backrooms? Is it simply a made-up story on the internet to scare each other? Or truly out there? Right behind the physical walls of space and time we live in, there is still a glitch zone, silently waiting with open jaws for unlucky people to misstep. Right now, try looking up, staring at the wall in the room you are sitting in. Are you sure behind that layer of brick and mortar is the familiar world? Or is it just a disguise? And behind it is a wall covered in faded yellow wallpaper. If tonight you toss and turn, unable to sleep because you accidentally imagine the buzzing sound of the fluorescent light bulb, leave a comment sharing your thoughts. Anyone who has experienced the creepy liminal space feeling while wandering alone in a school or supermarket, tell everyone right away to see if it's the same. And if you are a person passionate about exploring the darkest corners of psychology, addicted to the drama of urban mysteries and the most sensational unsolved files in the world, then don't hesitate anymore. Hit the subscribe button right away and turn on the notification bell for our channel. Your companionship is the only candle helping the channel illuminate this endless darkness. Thank you guys for watching until the very last second. Goodbye, and wish you guys walk firmly on the ground. Don't miss a step.